Hi, all, Serena Alnor, your host for hashtag Smart Girls Chat. Now, this week we're going to be speaking about balancing masculine and feminine energy. According to Hinduism, most of the deities and the gods are intersexed, known as hermaphrodites. The Bible also references intersexed individuals, calling them the Enochs in Matthew 19:12. Myself and Ankharaye will be speaking about this very topic this week on Smart Girl Chat. Join now. Looking forward to speaking to you. Yeah, you look a proper nice little witch in the woods. Like we just found this mystical woman in the woods.
Yeah.
Hey, check you out. Or earthy. So yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to Smart Girls Chat. Normally I have this chat in the Essential Woman Foundation group. When we talk about real authentic topics, you know, things that are affecting people on a everyday level. Nothing arty-farty, you know, real conversations about spirituality, crystals, religion, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, so welcome. And today we will be talking about, well, the centering question is gender neutral changing the art of seduction? So Patrice is my guest today, Ankharaye, also known as Ankharaye. She's my guest today, so she has like vast knowledge on this kind of topic area, relating to it in a spiritual way. And the conversation should be about, you know, empowering women, and also, you know, empowering men to understand women better. So, you know, tell us a bit about yourself, Patrice. I mean, obviously I know you, so I'm not going to assume that everybody else does. So tell us a bit about yourself.
So I've been practicing with sacred sexuality, tantra and kundalini energy for the past 3 years now. So it all started not on a professional basis, but just as a woman finding her own and being on her own spiritual journey to my own healing and releasing certain levels of trauma that I realised that I had within myself. And I just realised there's certain unhealthy patterns and cycles that I kept going through. So then I started my healing journey and I found Kundalini Reiki was the most powerful tool for me.
Yeah.
So after finding out how powerful it was, I got trained up and I began to work with Kundalini with other people. And then that was where I started to balance the sexuality when it comes to the feminine energy and the masculine energy. So I had imbalances within myself before. I found that I had more masculine energy, and I found that my to my sacral chakra, which is the chakra, for anyone that doesn't know, that governs female sexuality. So when the Kundalini started to rise, that energy started to clear out any blockages that I had within me. And then I was able to actually hold, and I had the capacity to be able to harness my own feminine energy. So it balanced me out. Whereas before, I had more male dominant energy, even though I was a female.
But it's interesting how, because, you know, as women, we very much live in a society now where we do have to, you know, get into that masculine space in order to work, action, action, action. So if you was to explain what is the difference between masculine and feminine energy, just to give everybody a overview on, you know, so they get a clear view as to why we need to, you know, bring it to balance.
I would say masculine energy, for me, it's more direct, it's kind of like, it's like straight to the point. Whereas feminine energy, it's a subtle, it's soft, it still gets things done, but in a softer way. So let's use the term motivation and inspiration. When you're being motivated, it's a push, a real strong push to do something. That's motivation. When you're being inspired to do something, it's almost like a soft thought comes into your mind, and it's almost like you're drawn to do this thing. So that's inspiration, which is feminine. And motivation, it's like you're being pushed. So there's a difference. Masculine energy pushes to get things done, strives to get things done, where feminine energy uses attraction to get things done. So it's a complete different energy.
Okay, so feminine energy is more magnetic, isn't it?
That's how the
And then
attraction works.
yes, yes. So even in terms of like when you want to attract money, for example, or positive things for yourself, you need to invoke that magnetic feminine aspect of self, because to receive is feminine, and to give away or to release is masculine.
So to put your outcomes there in the world and what you want and goal orientated, that's more masculine because you're directing your energy out into the external. Whereas, as
Okay.
you were saying, the feminine is ready, has the capacity to receive what she wants first. And only when she's in that capacity, she can hold and then she can get what she wants.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that now we know what masculine and feminine, what they do. How do we bring that to balance?
I'd say it really depends on the person and the individual, because depending on where your energy is at this current moment, you'll have different things to do. And
Hmm.
it's very kind of complicated because sometimes you can have more female energy and more masculine energy, but in your dharma for your specific life purpose, that energy suits you. So it's not about someone else thinking or someone thinking, oh my God, I'm female, but I've got more masculine energy, so I need to tone it down, because everybody's got a different life purpose. In that
Yeah.
person's life purpose, that energy placement would suit their pursuit, their goals, what they're meant to get out of life. So it's about really understanding yourself, understanding your placement. You could probably look in astrology, see your planets, are your planets more masculine or more feminine, to see, okay, is this aligned with who I'm meant to be? If it's not aligned with who you're meant to be, then you could probably do the work and think, okay, how can I balance this? So there's simple things, breath work, yoga, Reiki, anything that really focuses on your chakras, because the chakras have a direct impact with your endocrine system. The endocrine
Mhm.
system is what produces hormones, and it's hormones that kind of weigh the balance of whether you're kind of giving off the masculine energy on a chemical basis.
And okay, so women tend to be okay with the idea that they have masculine within them, and that they need to embrace, maybe to pursue their ambitions, etc. However, men are not very comfortable with that idea. Is that right or wrong or what?
It depends on the man and his comfortability. If he's not comfortable saying that he's connected to that feminine energy, it's really up to him to look at his belief systems and any patterns or dogmas that he's still buying into, because at the end of the day, all of us have both got feminine energy and masculine energy. You don't have to have a feminine energy, which, like, you don't have to come across like you're imbalanced just to say you've got feminine energy. Feminine energy is still very powerful,
Hmm.
and we should look at it more as in poles, not within gender. Because I think that's where we can get confused. If someone heals feminine energy, then feels like they're going to have to start acting like a woman or in a feminine mode, just relating to how women act. That's where the confusion is. But if you look at it as in negative and positive, just how a battery's got a positive side and it doesn't mean a good side, and it's got a negative side and it doesn't mean bad, just like
Hmm.
we've got a feminine side and it doesn't, it's got nothing to do with the female gender as such. It is just
Hmm.
the pole of energy, so it's the
Yeah.
same energy on different spectrums.
Okay. I just want to say, if anyone's watching and you feel like asking any questions or anything like that as we're going along, feel free to ask a comment in the comment box and we'll happily read them out. And also, if you can just press like, love, or whatever it is, because that brings up the algorithms on the Facebook so people know that we're watching. And then, somebody may need to hear this, what we're talking about today, or they may not. But if you could just do me that favor and just press like and love and all that kind of stuff, just so we can allow people to know that we are live today. Okay, so as a woman, I very much know how to slot into masculine and feminine as and when I need to. Hey, Amenti, how are you, honey? Yeah, I very much know how to slot into masculine and feminine as and when I kind of need to. I'm very much as somebody who practices these things on a regular basis. Um, However, coming across other women, I can see that they are not very aware or even comfortable. It's like, so for example, mothers then. Mothers will be in a very much a masculine space. And then when they have to go back into that femininity, it's almost like it's a struggle, you know, and then they're kind of judged. Like, how do we combat that idea? Because I see that women are very much able to, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, they're able to kind of shift out of different spaces. And in some ways, I feel like society makes us feel bad about that.
Mm-hmm. I think it depends again, like whether they've actually got an imbalance within them or they're actually serving that purpose. So it's up to them to kind of check on themselves to think, okay, I feel like I'm balanced now within the femininity or with the masculinity that I'm projecting. Or if they actually know within themselves, actually, I'm trying to kind of come into this motherly mode, come into this nurturing mode, but I don't feel comfortable in this space. So it's really for them to do some self-inquiry, and then depending
Yeah.
on whatever they find, then they can think, okay, how am I going to balance it? So I mentioned energy medicine with the chakras. So Reiki, especially focusing on the sacral, balancing that sacral center, making sure that they feel safe. Because if they feel safe, then there's less likeliness in them trying to emasculate or even copy a man in trying to be masculine, because they're not trying to protect themselves in the way they the father figure would protect them, because
Yeah.
they've got that sense of security within themselves and that safety. And if they feel safe, it allows them to be vulnerable. And vulnerability, it's
Okay.
not like, oh my God, I'm going to allow these things to happen to me. It's like, I'm going to be soft. It's okay to be soft and embrace that soft side. I don't have to bark at people. I don't have to always try and be this strong woman, because that narrative is so heavily pushed. Oh yeah, be a strong woman, or people will try and compliment you and they'll be like, oh, you're so strong, you're so strong, you're so strong. And it's just like, am I like, really? Why are you saying that? Are you saying that because of my energy, or are you just like trying to push that narrative?
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, because you know, I think like Black women especially carry that stigma of being strong Black women, and I feel like society almost doesn't allow us to kind of even go into vulnerable spaces, because when we do, um, it's like we're constantly reminded, actually, you're not supposed to be there, kind of thing. So even when you're acting, you know, acting feminine, or you're being feminine, shall I say, you know, you can feel like, am I even supposed to be here? Because the world
Definitely. And
expects you to act a different way.
even you members of your own community can look down on you like, oh, toughen up and all that kind of thing. So it's just like you have to kind of know yourself and be true to yourself, because there's no fake it till you make it in the energetical world. Like, energy doesn't lie. So you might try and put on this bravado on the external, but inside, anything that you're going through is going to be registered in your cellular memory. So whether you're going to have to deal with it this particular moment, it's going to come up. So it's all about really thinking, actually, am I being authentic? Am I
Yeah.
actually being true to myself? Because we all know the truth. The truth always reveals itself in one form or other, just because people around you might be thinking, oh, yeah, she's strong or she's coping well. Inside, that's how mental health can trigger, when you've
Mm.
got something and you're not dealing with it. So it just gets suppressed and suppressed and suppressed till one day you snap and everyone's like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's wrong? And they don't understand that you've been actually bottling stuff up because you've been afraid to step into that vulnerable place or show your softness or even show weakness. Like, it's okay to say, you know what, I can't deal with this, or this isn't working for me.
So what's the sacral chakra? Can you
The
explain that?
sacral chakra is the chakra that's located just underneath your belly button. For anyone that's unfamiliar with chakras, if you think of a vortex, if you think of a bath and you plug the plug out and you see the water start to spiral, that's a vortex of energy. So that's something that pulls in energy. And we have those located all over our body. But the main ones that we tend to focus on, or you'll tend to hear about, is the seven chakras, which are the root chakra, sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and the crown chakra. And they all govern how your energy goes through your body. To think of them as filters. You've got one energy and it's going through your body consistently, but based
Yeah.
on which is the chakra, that chakra is going to filter that energy. So if that energy is coming from the sacral chakra, that's going to filter that neutral energy, and it's going to seem like sexual energy because it's coming from the sexual chakra. But in all essence, it's just Kundalini energy. It's just life force energy.
Okay. So for those who want to come out of their masculine more and be in their feminine more, it's about focusing on your sacral chakra. And that means that you will attract more situations where you will practice being what you call vulnerable, not in a negative
Definitely.
sense where you can be attacked, etc., but it will be more promoting and pushing you into a space of being more vulnerable, more inspiring rather than motivating, more receiving. Because I think there's a lot of women as well that are not comfortable with receiving as well, and then that's an issue. Um, Clearly relating to the sacral chakra, isn't it?
Definitely. It makes me smile actually because one person actually like tried to give me a compliment, and they said like being around me, they noticed how it's just like I'm ready to receive. I'm just
That's
ready
good.
for it. So when things do come my way, it's like, oh, okay, it's like, oh, hands already out, thank you. And then said that's nice. Energetically, it's not like you're trying to, again, it's not like you're trying to go out there and grab this in the world and grab that. It's just like, no, I'm ready. Like I'm
Yeah.
ready to hold this energy that you're ready to just bestow on me.
And that's interesting when you look at it from a masculine feminine perspective. I think women probably, it would be good for women to carry the mindset that men actually like to give. So when they're in a space of giving, if you're in a space of receiving, it actually it's tantalizing for them, and it's nice, and it feels like a mutual exchange
Most
rather than
definitely, most definitely. And also, just going back to the chakras, which one it would be most helpful to work on as well is the heart chakra. So that's a chakra around forgiveness and trust. So we're talking about like being in a space to receive. If you don't trust people around you, then you're not going to trust that their giving is genuine. And we're going to make up 101 excuses why we shouldn't be ready and why we shouldn't be in that mode and why we shouldn't be vulnerable if we've got issues with trust. Actually,
yeah.
you could talk about this because you were doing a seminar on trust, wasn't you?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I was just about to say that, one of my clients the other day, could see that she was struggling with what trust actually looks like. So I was like, look at suspicion. If you are suspicious of something or someone, that means that you are not in a space of trusting.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever you are in a situation where you are suspicious, then that is a notification to let you know that you are not trusting, and then you know that that's not doing anything good for your heart chakra. So that's what I would actually say on trust. It's more about, what does trust look like? It looks like suspicion, in my humble opinion.
So that's nice. That's beautiful how it kind of clicked with something you were discussing with a client.
Mm, mm, mm. Interesting. So I also think that there's women out there who, like I said initially, that are very comfortable with balancing the two. And how I think myself and you was having a conversation about hermaphrodites before. I mean, I went to India about 2 years ago, and India, has a lot of hermaphrodites over there, and they're very much shun upon and ostracized from society, so they can't get jobs and things like that. They're very much looked upon as the lower class people, etc., etc. But for me, I was like, wow, like these women or men who are both man and woman, I thought that was absolutely amazing, to be honest. Especially to see it on an external level, because
Definitely.
like, we very much feel it on an internal level. So to be somewhere and see that in the masses and the way that society deals with them, I was like, I wonder if these people are magical, because for me as a spiritual person, somebody who enjoys the concept of masculine and feminine energy, I'm like, wow, most of the Hindu gods were or are balanced, you know? And then
Most
you've got the
definitely.
manifestation of those beings in your society, and then you shun them. I very much find that quite interesting. And then also that led me to thinking about, how does the intersex, how is that, is gender neutrality changing the art of seduction? So, for example, if you're somebody who is quite balanced in terms of knowing when to be in your feminine space and when to be in your masculine space, you can use that energy as to assist you with the art of seduction. So if we're going to neutralize the whole concept of gender, where does that leave us in regards to honoring the art of seduction?
That's interesting because seduction for me is almost like a dance. So I went to a Kazumba class one time, and it was
Mm,
interesting in the principles of the dance. And the
mm,
principles were that the man leads and the woman is receptive, and it's really quite a close and intimate dance. And you want to just kind of feel into the energy. So when the man moves on the lead, it's like you just flow with that lead. You're just ready to respond. So you're responding to his movements. You're not making the movements, you're responding. So the art of
mhm,
seduction is almost like a dance into male energies, directing energy towards you. And you're
mhm,
kind of receiving it, like, okay, what am I going to do with this energy? Am I going to bat it one way? Am I going to manipulate it and send it back? And usually with seduction, it's like we kind of manipulate the energy slightly and then we send it back,
yeah,
and then we wait for it to be sent again. So it's almost
yeah.
like a game of like energetical ping pong, but it's just a subtleness that can kind of make things sexy.
So if we are neutralizing gender, what effect does that have on the concept of um masculine and feminine energy? Do you get what I mean? If we're going to neutralize
Yeah.
it, where does it stand? Nowhere.
That's interesting because if you think about it and just think that as a being, we're essence, we're just energy anyway, and then from our personas, from our egos, from our minds, from our identity, and from our biology, we're giving off, and hormones meaning biology,
Hmm.
either feminine hormones creating feminine characteristics or male hormones, testosterone, giving
Yeah.
off masculine characteristics. So if
Hmm.
this is kind of neutralized, what way is it neutralized? Is it neutralized politically, just in the names, masculine and feminine, or is it neutralized actually like hormonally? Because if it's neutralized hormonally, then that actually does relate to the energy, the actual energy that we're giving off. If we haven't got
Yeah.
as much estrogen, we're not going to speak so softly,
Yeah.
and we're not going to like be so curvy. We're not going to think in a feminine mind, in a feminine way. So it
Yeah.
depends like exactly what is being neutralized. Is it the energy, or is it more like the political term of the word gender?
Yeah. I guess that's something to think about as well. But then at the same time, if you look at the power of the mind, then we know that if we're not acknowledging the feminine energy, the nine ether energy, then it does reduce estrogen, and it will reduce the testosterone if the male ain't seeing himself as masculine. You know, I don't know what the manifestation of that will be in the future in terms of how people will be. However, it's something that might, it's something that we as spiritual beings probably need to
Yeah.
foresee, because it's not like if we're neutralizing gender altogether, then we're not actually manifesting hermaphrodites, are we, or intersexed beings? What is it that we are doing? Because the whole point of having hermaphrodites and intersex beings is acknowledging that they are both masculine and feminine all in one. Do
Yeah.
you get what I mean? So if
They're
that's
feeling
gone,
the principles.
the power of the mind, what on earth would we be manifesting? It's very interesting, because I like that whole to and fro with the masculine and feminine, you know. Like I said, like even, with my partner or with the children, I like going into that feminine space, because very much when I'm out there in the world, I have to be quite not masculine, but I'm more in action, I'm more in let's get things done, it's more logical, etc., etc. So
Mm-hmm.
when I like to sit back into that space, and I can see how it benefits, especially the family network.
Yeah.
So without me having that kind of mindset, I'm not sure what it is that I would be creating, to be honest. I'd probably be lost as a
Like
female.
I'm not sure neither, to be fair. To be
Yeah.
honest, like it's hard to even visualize, just because I'm so like used to the principles of the female principle. Well, I've got 5% battery. The principles of the feminine principle, like you were saying, if you're going to be around your children or your partner, and you're going to be that nurturer, you're going to be ready to receive, to be able to be in that kind of motherly mode, versus being out in the world and being like, okay, wear the trousers, going to get this, going and being direct, and having to kind of balance between the two. So if that was completely neutral, like, I don't even know. Like, I can't
Yeah.
even.
How does it look? I mean,
Yeah,
because
like,
even in the we talked about Hinduism,
mm,
very much acknowledging intersexed beings,
mm,
who were called hermaphrodites, and also it references in the Bible about intersex beings as well, and they call them the Enochs. So that's an interesting concept that both two religions kind of acknowledge the whole idea of there needing to be, or having existed, a masculine and feminine within one vessel. Uh, and then, there's many of us trying to bring that to balance today. Looking at it from both of those religions or theories, it shows that it's an important thing for us to try and achieve or
most
attempt to
definitely.
achieve.
Like, it's balance, isn't it? It's like exactly feeling whole, not thinking that you have to go outside of yourself to be able to feel this or gain this masculine energy, that you actually have it within you. And especially like if you look at a woman, especially in the female form, natural female form. So if you think of the actual sexual organs, how you've got the vagina, and that is the organ that's meant to receive energy.
Mm.
Um, and you think of the breasts now, and the vagina goes inwards and the breasts go outwards. So
Mm.
the breasts are directing energy. The breasts are something that actually gives, doesn't receive. It maybe
Mm.
receives information, but it gives breast milk. So you're
Yeah.
there like giving with that part of your body, but then with the lower part of your body, you're receiving, and even to give childbirth, like we're balancing, like if you just take
So,
it back to the most natural primal aspects of womanhood.
well, this is it. So maybe it's something that we already are, but we just don't see our assets in that way.
Mhm.
And that's interesting, isn't it?
Most
That's really
definitely.
interesting, because
Most
men
definitely.
don't have that. They are only givers, um,
That,
whereas we receive and give, kind of thing. So automatically that makes us intersexed anyway, if we're looking at it from an energetical perspective, and not from, from our physical, the physical aspect of self. And it's interesting because the stories that go back centuries, where it says that at the beginning of time, there was a time, shouldn't say a beginning of time, there was a time where women could impregnate themselves because it was called pathogenesis.
Mhm.
At the base of our spines, we had a chemical that we could release in, or which was a sperm-like chemical, which would impregnate us. And that whole idea of pathogenesis chemical, it's comes
Yeah.
from your bone marrow, and that's where the whole virgin births came from.
Mhm.
Obviously, people of that time were like, oh, that can't happen and blah, blah, blah. But in actual fact, there were women that existed in those times. And this is where we get the whole virgin birth thing from. And I feel like women need to kind of embrace these stories in a way that's more empowering. So, for example, Mary was, seen to be some kind of whore who secretly slept with probably another man, or there was this spirit
Yeah.
who seemed to be a man who impregnated her, whereas in actual fact, she may have been, according to these stories, she may have been a highly spiritual or a very balanced being, or intersexed being who was able to impregnate herself. And these women existed within society. So, for me as a woman and someone who respects the ancestors, that's very empowering to know that I come from a lineage that was able to achieve that. That's absolutely awesome. And it was mind blowing looking at even the story of Mary from that perspective.
Most definitely. I just think the whole immaculate conception and immaculate birth and having those both energies and understanding the science of it. Because a lot of times, sometimes people mention the whole thesis of it, but they don't kind of break down the science. They just say, hey, we're able to have babies, but I like how you actually brought into the science of it, like about the low of the spine, the bone marrow. So that's also an interesting thing to kind of get out there as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if there's any women watching, you know, big up yourself and empower yourself because you come from a lineage, being a feminine that, as Patrice said, we're actually balanced anyway. So it's not something that we need to kind of harness or reactivate. It's already happening. It's just about us acknowledging it, that we can receive and take, you know? And also it makes sense because we were actually we have well we our ancestors had within their bone marrow the ability to procreate by ourselves, and it's interesting because who was I talking to the other day, and I says, as yes, we was talking about pregnancy, we was talking about do women, it was on the radio the other day actually, we were talking about do women have the power when it comes to having children, the decision to actually have a child. So I was saying that it's not necessarily about whether the women have the power or not. It's about women having the power because yes, she does have the power to have an abortion or choose to keep the child and tell the man to do one. It's more about her having that power and being able to share it. And that's how you're able to balance the masculine and feminine energy, where you both come together and make that decision to bring that manifestation, which will be a child, forward together.
It's
Do you
getting
get
a
what I mean?
charger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So it's not a case of do women have the power, do men have the power, shall we go matriarchal or shall we go patriarchal? It's more about,
Mhm.
realizing that women do have the power. However, it's about women being able to share that power so that we can balance the masculine energy and the masculine and feminine aspect of existence um, in a 3D aspect.
Most definitely. Like you were talking about how there's just so much power in not even asking the question, do we or have we? It's like, hang on, acknowledge the power. Like you've already got it,
Yeah,
just acknowledge it. Because like, again, if you know you have something, you move differently, you act differently, you think differently.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So it's very, very, very interesting and a very nice conversation with you. on the topic. I guess we've spoken about the fact that intersex beings exist today, regardless how they're treated, they do exist. And, if people were to educate themselves in regards to how special they are, because it's rare that we can actually see
Exactly.
3D that intersex beings actually exist, and that manifestation of masculine and feminine in balance externally and internally right before our eyes. And then also, acknowledging that it is referenced, and also acknowledging the fact that women are, do ultimately have the power, but it's about sharing it. And that's from a factual basis, and just embracing the stories of women in a more positive way, and allowing us to each other as women as well to invoke those stories to give us strength, and enable us to see the feminine more so we can wear it more. Because a lot of the time it's not just about men shutting it out, it's, we as women, we do that as well by judging each other, and it's not necessarily uh fair or warranted.
Most definitely. It's beautiful
Yeah.
to actually like with this topic because I feel like it's so current, it's so relevant. It
Mm.
really is in today's society and everything that's going on. And even within just the standard healing journey, just to know that you're whole. You are whole. You do embody both energies. And even if you want to think about the wording and the spelling of the female, with male you've just got male, and with fee you've got fee and
Mm.
male, and again with woman, with man it's just man, but with woman you've got the woe and man. So she's always it's almost pointing and just giving you a clue that hang on, you got both, woman, female. You're not half. It's not like, okay, women are fee and males are male, put them together and now you've got like one energy. No, we've already got that energy,
And
already
even
got
from,
anything.
yeah, and then even looking at it from a etymological, is it etymology?
Yeah, etymology.
Etymological perspective as well. If you look at the word pathogenesis, Genesis, you can see part of Genesis. So Genesis is the beginning, so a part of the beginning, so it all kind of makes a lot of sense. And just
It does.
invoking that, oh my God, I can just feel the energy now, like my Kundalini is kind of going. Like, oh my God, like how amazing. How amazing. I don't know if anybody's watched Wonder Woman as well. If you watch Wonder Woman as well, you'll get to see that I wouldn't say
Like,
matriarchal existence, but that kind of existence where the women impregnate themselves. It's the latest Woman. You see how it all comes about and stuff like that. That idea of pathogenesis is actually
I
in
need
there as
to
well.
watch that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Watch it. It's really good. It's really, really good. And she, she has to invoke all of her strength
Wow.
as a woman to fight the electric, which is the to combat the electric, which is obviously the
See, that's
masculine. It's
deep,
absolutely
that
awesome.
is. Yeah. I'm gonna watch that. To
Yeah,
combat the
yeah,
electric, obviously people know, masculine is electric and females are magnetic. So I'm gonna watch that.
yeah.
I
So
am.
yeah, um, Sagan's put pathogenesis means virgin birth. Exactly, exactly. And what is a how do you get a virgin birth? It's not some weird spirit that just came from somewhere and filled the woman's body. No, she was able to impregnate herself. That is gangster. Like, how dare they hide that from us? That is so gangster.
It
You know?
is proper G.
Yeah.
Put the G in
So,
God.
so yeah. I think we'll bring it to a close now. And I just want to say thank you for coming on and chatting with me about the centering question, just for anybody who missed the centering question. It was is gender neutral changing the art of seduction, which we covered, which then brought us to widen the conversation. So I hope everybody's enjoyed watching today, and I hope you've learned something. And like I said, if you have any comments, feel free to inbox me. And if anybody has any knowledge or you know, anything that you want to share, then feel free to send me an email, and then we can hook you up with coming on Smart Girls Chat. So yeah, thank you, Trees. This is Ankharaye, everybody.
Thank you
My
for
soul,
inviting me. Like, it's a pleasure
yeah,
to
my soul
converse with
sister.
you like yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. You take care, and love and light to everybody. And thank you for watching. Nichinandam.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, darling.